Hello.
Hello. Oh, that's you.
Well, welcome everybody to Salt House Church. My name's Bill Hallerman. I work with Catholic Community Services and the New Bethlehem Project. And
I'm Karina O'Malley. I'm on the board of the Sophia Way.
So we got the short straw and are your hosts for today. Two things for just logistics for folks looking for bathrooms. You can either go out here to the left down the hallway or right as you came into the door are the bathrooms. And also they said to tell you to silence your cell phones, just like you're in church. So we want to welcome and thank you all for being here. And just for your incredible support of this shared vision to build a permanent space for women and families on the east side that are struggling with homelessness. It's an amazing day, and many of you are responsible for that day. This is going to be a real simple afternoon. We're going to thank folks. We're going to celebrate a little bit how we got to this point. We're going to hear from some of our supporters in government, and also from some of the folks that we serve are going to share a little bit with you. And then we're going to do a blessing that will start here and we'll finish around the corner where we're going to put our shovels in the ground and do the groundbreaking. So it should be a simple, hopefully a simple afternoon. So instead of doing a long list of folks to say thank you, Karina and I thought what we would do is thank them by telling their story and this story. And it's a story about this community and its response to homelessness that's so different from the stories we've been hearing about lately, that our community is somehow dying. This is a story about life and love and what happens to us and for us when the deepest part of ourselves realize that we are connected, and we're connected to the rest of our community, folks who just don't happen to have homes. This is the real story of our community. It's a story of care and collaboration and donation and volunteering. It's a passionate refusal to see other people as anything other than we are, that they need dignity, respect. They're children of God just like we are. So we're going to tell that story kind of back and forth through the eyes of both the Sophia Way and New Bethlehem to get you all up to speed about how we got here.
Long, long time ago. No, not that long ago, actually. The city of Bellevue, who's represented today by Mayor Chelmanak and Councilmember Zahn, started an emergency shelter. Sophia Way was just a brand new agency then, and we've got a bunch of Sophia Way board members here and staff, so shout out to all of you. I can't list you all. Sophia Way was just a brand new agency, and we were asked to help with this emergency shelter. The idea was it would be a severe weather shelter just when the temperature dropped below 32 degrees, open just a few nights a year, and it would save lives. Everybody could come inside into a room in a community center. Now, over the years, other cities joined in support, and it split and grew. And we were just trying to keep everybody safe and warm during the worst weather. Sophia Way ran the emergency shelter for women and families in church basements for several years. And then we also took over a day center for women in 2014 from the YWCA. Now in 2014, our interim executive director, Ray Levine, called Bill Hallerman at Catholic Community Services and said, we want to partner on this emergency services. We're serving a lot of families, and that's your expertise. And that's when Bill and I met.
So together with Sophia Way, we were operating the shelter in churches. Well, meanwhile, back at Holy Family Catholic Church, Father Nagel and Andrea Liggett and Linda DeBolt and a number of the parishioners there were deeply concerned. And they were concerned because we were sheltering folks at night, but at 7 in the morning, they spilled out onto our streets. And at the same moment, over at St. Louise Catholic Church, Father Gary and Pete and Nancy Wright and a bunch of those folks that were parishioners were also concerned. And they actually called the Sophia Way and Holy Family to see what could we do together with folks that are struggling.
Meanwhile, Arch, led by Arthur Sullivan and Klaus is here, got the cities together and formed a plan. They felt that what the East Side needed was permanent buildings for emergency shelters. Redmond had cited a shelter for young adults. I think we have some folks from Redmond here, Alaric and maybe some council members. Bellevue promised to cite a permanent shelter for men, and we have Mayor Chelmanak and Councilmember Zahn. And Kirkland committed to cite a permanent shelter for women. A permanent shelter for families was not yet part of the plan at that point.
So back at the ranch at Holy Family, we gathered Catholic Community Services staff and parishioners from St. Louise and Holy Family and said, what are we going to do? And we came up with three things we wanted to do. To immediately do a day center, to try to make the shelter year-round, and to build that 24-hour permanent facility for families on the east side. Well, at that time, Andrea Liggett reached out to Pastor Sarah here at Salt House and said, do you have any space that we might be able to use for a temporary day center? Pastor Sarah says, as a matter of fact, we have a basement we're not using. Let's go take a look at that. And so they did. And so after that walkthrough, we started this amazing partnership with Salt House Church. And Kim Saunders and Heather and Pastor Sarah immediately joined our group at New Bethlehem, and we opened it in 2016 with lots of help from Jillian and Amber, and I saw Natalia here, who was the first director as well. And we started the day center here in the basement of Salt House Church.
And now the city of Kirkland took this promise very seriously. The staff today is represented by Leslie Miller and Kurt Triplett and Tracy Dunlap and many, many others who were all in on the Arch plan. The city council, all 7 members, were all in, and you can see the representation right now tonight of the city council here. We have Mayor Sweet, Councilmember Asher, Councilmember Curtis, Councilmember Neer, Councilmember Nixon. Their work plan had the task of siting the shelter. Their next work plan had the task of building the shelter. The council even directed staff to put some surplus revenue into this project. Our former mayor and then current state representative, Joan McBride, delivered the first piece of funding from the state. And, woo!
So, back at New Bethlehem, we gathered at...
Nope,
oops.
sorry. That's all right. So then in 2016, this is the downer note, the 50-bed shelter that CCS and Sophia Way were running for women and families became full. We had to turn people away. Quickly, the cities, led by Leslie Miller, worked to find more funding, and King County found some funding, and faith communities stepped up with basement space, and we opened another emergency shelter, another 50 beds, just for families. So that fall, Sophia Way took daily operations of an emergency shelter for women, and Catholic Community Services kept running the emergency shelter for families. At that point, Kirkland was still looking for a site for that permanent building.
Then, back at New Bethlehem, we kind of paused, all of us together, and we said, look at all the momentum there is on the east side to do something for women and for families. We have churches like Holy Family and St. Louise and Salt House Lutheran and Lake Washington Methodist, which does the safe parking around the corner. All of those different denominations working together. We have agencies like Catholic Community Services and the Sophia Way. We have the city of Kirkland. We have King County. We have the state of Washington. We have the east side cities with Arch. So we gathered and said, look at all that momentum that we have going. And so it's time that we put that vision together for both of those facilities. And that's how we decided to make sure that we were going to do a project together for women and families.
And we found a fantastic site. City of Kirkland put their finger down on the map right here at Salt House. It's near bus lines, it's zoned well, we have really quiet neighbors to the east here. And New Bethlehem thought it would be a great place for their permanent family shelter as well.
And so over the last months, that vision has brought us all together with all those folks putting in resources and volunteer time and energy, as well as many of you who are here have donated the private fundraising goal. Right now we've hit $2.1 million, which has really been raised. And that's just amazing. Most of that's been raised on the east side, and that's in addition to the millions of dollars that the city of Kirkland and King County and Arch are all putting in so that this project is a reality. So over the last months, we've spent a lot of time working. Our development staff, Patrick Tippy and Norma, who's here, and selected Deacon Construction, and they're the folks that are going to be building it, and Bill Singer I saw here, who's with Environmental Works, our architect. All of this coming together so we could build this beautiful facility where women and families can come and really be welcomed, a place to rebuild their life and then move to permanent housing and more stability. We wanted to tell that story because really this is our story. It is our story at this community. It ain't about dying, it's about living, and that's what's happening.
And now, with great gratitude to the City of Kirkland, I'd like to introduce our Mayor, Penny Sweet.
That's perfect. Thank you. And thank you. Dal has joined us. I'll introduce him in a minute. I am so thrilled to be here with all of you for this incredible occasion. I even brought my 2 golden retrievers in the back of my car because they've been locked in the house all day. But this is thrilling to welcome you to Kirkland and to the important event to break ground for a permanent shelter on the east side to serve adult women and families with children that are experiencing homelessness. This project is the result of unprecedented collaboration by nonprofits, faith communities, city, county, and state government, and the community. You may not know this, but this project breaking ground in 2019 is extraordinary. The Kirkland City Council has had this project on its work plan since 2015, but the story of the need for the shelter dates back a number of years. In 2012, a regional coalition for housing, we've all heard about it all the time already, Arch, the cities of Bellevue, Kirkland, and Redmond, and service providers began pursuing a strategy to site permanent shelters for men and women on the east side. This group presented the strategy in early 2014 to all of the Arch cities, and the cities agreed to pursue this worthy goal. Within months, the Kirkland City Council made siting a permanent shelter for women one of the highest priority work plan items. When somebody declares an emergency in Kirkland, we respond. Where am I? It's 2 pages. Okay, as an active participant in the point in time, originally the one-night count processes for many, many years, I can say that firsthand that the problem has only gotten worse. During the siting process, several faith communities had come together to pursue strategies to address the unmet needs of families with children experiencing homelessness. The city, Arch, these communities, and the service providers joined forces to bring the project serving both adult women and families with children to fruition. City Council committed significant city funds and resources to work with our partners and make the shelter a reality. And the city purchased a site from Salt House in 2018. I know this is a repeat of what we've just heard, but it's still an important message from the city, and it's an important message, I think, in terms of the commitment that a city can make to its community and to its broad community. The funding support of Arch, King County, and the state of Washington, thank you, Joan, has been nothing short of breathtaking. The Kirkland community has embraced housing or hosting those experiencing homelessness, extending our commitment to being a safe, inclusive, and welcoming community. But our work is not done yet. We need to make sure that services are provided 24/7 to ensure that the guests at this facility have the safety and security they need to move forward on the pathway to housing and healing. This will take continued collaboration and additional financial commitments by all stakeholders, with King County already leading the way with an increased financial commitment for the first 5 years of operations. Thank you, King County. So before I introduce Dow Constantine, I just want to say we look forward to an even bigger party in 2020 when we come back for the ribbon cutting. Do not leave out the lemon bars. And now I'd like to introduce Dow Constantine, King County Executive.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm very pleased to be here with Mayor Sweet, with the staff, volunteers, and clients of Catholic Community Services and of the Sophia Way to celebrate the groundbreaking for a new permanent location for the East Side Women and Families Shelter. Now, yesterday I spent some time helping cut the ribbon on a shelter up on 96th and Aurora in Seattle, which similarly has permanent housing, 24-hour services. And the 24-hour service is really critical to help people get back momentum in their lives. And in fact, it seems to me that just every day or 2 or 3, I'm going to either a ribbon cutting or a groundbreaking for shelter or for supportive housing or for affordable housing. Lots of people in government, in faith communities, in the philanthropic sector, in nonprofits are doing extraordinary work pulling together to help those who are experiencing homelessness in our community. And today is a joyous day for Kirkland, but for the entire region. So thank you to everyone who is making this possible. With the support of our East Side cities, the Women's Shelter operated by Sophia Way and the Family Shelter operated by Catholic Community Services have operated in various temporary sites over several years. And I know it was sometimes difficult to find new sites as you move from place to place. And when a new site was found, it wasn't always optimal. It wasn't always perfectly located near transit or near services or near the stores that families needed. But today we are breaking ground for a new permanent location, which is cause for a real celebration. And we're also celebrating the community collaboration that's making that permanent location possible. Our East Side cities did join together under the umbrella of ARCH, which is a regional coalition for housing, for those of you unfamiliar, and with the leadership of Kirkland and Redmond to support a permanent site. And they brought the leadership of Catholic Community Services and the leadership of the Sophia Way, two of our region's strongest shelter and service providers. I want to particularly take this opportunity to thank Bill Hollerman and Karina O'Malley for their dedicated staff. They've put in exceptional effort during our recent extreme winter storm, and they've expanded shelter spaces to absolute capacity every night when we're experiencing the bitter cold temperatures. And on behalf of King County, thank you for your generosity, your compassion, and your determination to ensure a space out of the cold for every single person who came to you. And I'm also here today because King County is proud to be a partner in the regional shelter effort. Through our voter-approved Veterans, Seniors, and Human Services Levy, thank you, voters of King County, and through the Community Development Block Grant, we are able to invest $2.7 million to help build this shelter, and the levy will also provide an additional $2.5 million for the operating and services funding because we know a warm, safe bed is an extremely important thing for people, but so too is access to on-site supportive services, as I mentioned before, case management, employment counseling, physical and behavioral health services, and housing navigation to get to that permanent home. These services make it possible for every woman, every family to begin to build that path out of homelessness. The collaboration is making the shelter possible, that's making the shelter possible, is the same kind of partnership that we need to be able to replicate across this region. This is not just government, and it's not just charity. This is all of us, all sectors, all region, all individuals joining together and aiming at that place on the horizon we know we need to go. We can only do this if we're united as one. So this is how we will be successful in creating the emergency and the long-term housing and services we need to give every person in our communities the opportunity to reclaim their health, their security, their dignity. So I look forward to coming back with you, Madam Mayor, and cutting the ribbon on this fantastic new opportunity for our community. Thank you so much for inviting me today.
Thank you so much, Dow. And now I just want to take a moment to have us all remember that it's not me or Bill or even any of those folks whose names I've mentioned so far who are doing the hard work. The folks who are experiencing homelessness are doing the hard, crushing work every single day, and they're waiting for us. And we need to put all of our energy into taking a little bit of that job off of their shoulders and onto ours. So I want to take this moment now to hear from Deetra and Alita to help us understand that a little better. Thanks.
So I'm not going to be doing a lot of talking. I was very fortunate enough to case manage and help Alita along her journey. So I'm just standing here as her support and also to nudge her when it's time to move faster with the story, right? Kind of like getting through case management with me.
It's really a pleasure to be here and to see this happen. It's pretty breathtaking when you've been through a pathway that's been crushing. And I said I wasn't going to cry. Okay.
You're good.
Homelessness interrupted a way of life that was not working for me. I was in another abusive relationship, and it ended up like, how'd I get here, you know? I'd had a 20-year marriage that was not something I wanted to hang on to. I got out of that. Developed a successful career, made about $100,000 a year. Started drinking and using pills to keep this motor going, and realized that I needed to get into recovery. Got into recovery and just needed to get a job. My job paid about $30,000 a year. When I left this place that was not good for me, I relied on a small network of friends who I was, enough that I was willing to be honest with. That I was up, S Creek and without a paddle, and I needed to couch surf for a minute or two while I got from A to B. And I really felt emotionally scattered and defeated and ashamed because I felt that I'm a college graduate, had made good money, wanted to have enough, within me to make this thing happen again. Pick it up and run. It wasn't working that way. Shelters are important, but who you meet in them is even more important. All I needed to do in my mind was get enough money together. You know, I needed to get a first month, a deposit, and a last month. So it was all about money for me. It was just get enough money. And I was working. I went into the shelter working. My family of origin based any and all personal acknowledgement on how much you earned and if you were working. We were a very work ethic oriented group of people. If you weren't working, there's something wrong with you. Get busy. That was the common phrase. And I was proud to be a working person. I've always loved to work. I started at age 11. I'm 68 now, and I'm not stopping. I enjoy working.
She's actually going to get her SHRM certification, which is really awesome. So.
It is awesome. That's what I'm working for. And first week in the shelter, I was assigned a case manager, Deetra. And, you know, I wrote her an email. I said, you know, just send me anything you need to know, anything you need me to do. I'm not going to be a problem. I'm going to be in and out of here. Boom. And she said, well, let's just meet. You know, so she... So first meeting, she says to me, have you... I told her the story, you know, the sad story that we all have going on. And she said, have you gotten any treatment for your codependency? You know, I was very upfront with her about this pattern that I had in my life of drinking and using, but codependency, she out of her mind. I'm not a codependent. And I started working with her. She said, I want you to see Nurse Kim, who medical treatment comes once a week. I talked to this nurse person. She assigned me to a therapist counselor. Resources. So here I am. I started going to see this therapist. And she said, what makes you even imagine that you don't have codependency? So the healing had begun for me, the healing. I was in such a place in my life that it was, I didn't want to not listen anymore. I needed to hear everything that I needed to hear. If there's enough pain, you'll reach for change. And there was enough pain in me to say, please, teach me how to do this thing. And I couldn't go back into the field that I was in because it had too many triggers for me. But I had achieved, you know, working was working, but I did it in a way that pleased others. I mean, we all want to please our bosses and our companies and all that kind of stuff, but I went over the top on that. I really needed to please someone because I didn't have it inside myself to say, that's a good job or that's good enough. Stop. You know, I didn't have a stop button inside me. So by myself, when I preferred isolation, I craved peace, never getting too close to other people, to anyone. I had no idea why my internal barometer was sagging so low. And I just had taken pills and drunk at the issue so I wouldn't have to face or hear or see them. And when I worked with Deetra,
Which was at the shelter.
Yeah, which was at the shelter. Okay, I'm back now. Anyway, it was a huge change for me. It was a huge change to show, look, you need to concentrate on this and bring balance. It was about bringing balance back into my life, and we've done that. More so.
We're working on it. We're never balanced.
We also wanted to have Barbara Lopez is here, who is one of our moms who came through New Bethlehem, and so Amber, I don't know if you're going to come up or if Barbara's going to come up, and sure, okay, and Barbara's going to share a little bit about her story.
Hi, everyone. I just want you guys to know I'm really nervous, but I got this. Hi, my name is Barbara Lopez. I would like to tell you a little bit about my family and the process we went through at New Bethlehem Day Center. We were a family of 6 who came to the day center to shower, wash clothes, eat, use the computers, and also get case management with Amber North. My family and I were homeless for 8 months before getting our housing in Issaquah. I am also raising my granddaughter Harmony, that is 5 years old, full-time. Being homeless was the hardest thing that we had ever went through. There was many bumps and challenges on the way, but we always came back to New Bethlehem because it was a safe place where we found hope. Now my family and I volunteer at New Bethlehem and bring dinner meals, and we also went through the CCS Asset Program and finished and will be graduating in May of this year. The Asset Program is a program about learning how to work in this field and how to help other people who are also going through these same difficult situations. Through this program, I will now start an internship as an advocate at New Bethlehem. There has been some recent changes in my life, and now I'm going through a divorce, raising my 2 kids and my granddaughter on my own. But I know that I'm strong enough, and I'm so excited for this new chapter ahead of me because the encouragement that I have received at New Bethlehem. Also, I would like to thank God for the opportunity to work with all the staff at the day center, and they gave me the opportunity to better myself and build something new for my family. New Bethlehem was always a place that friends, they were always, a safe place and very friendly, and a place that we were welcomed. After we found our housing, I brought many friends of the Latino community, friends of friends of friends that are going through the same situation that I did. I bring them to New Bethlehem because I know that they will get the help that they are needing. I'm very excited that these families will soon have a new shelter. It would have been so much easier to have everything we needed, the shelter, the case management, and the showers all in one-stop place. I am so grateful and excited that I'm so grateful and so excited to be a part of it and show families that New Bethlehem the same love and compassion that God has shown me here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Barbara and Alita, both, for sharing. We really appreciate it. You're why we're here. Remember, this is a beginning, the beginning of construction, but also the beginning of the great work that will happen here. All of you, stay involved. Stay a part of this amazing community. There is a website called eastsidecares.org that will stay open till the end of the year just for this project, for you to donate money and to keep up to date on developments. New Bethlehem and Sophia Way can involve you in volunteering, in bringing meals, in helping on site, and supporting the folks in all kinds of ways that use our programs. And I hope to see you all back here next year for the ribbon cutting. Now, some more logistics. We are going to have a blessing from Pastor Sarah and Father Nagel and Father Gary. And then we'll move outside for the groundbreaking and photographs with the shovels. These doors behind you, the garage doors will open. And we will go out that way. And as you leave, please take a blessing bag. These are gift bags with essential items packaged together that you can hand to somebody in need that you might meet, and a way to pass on the blessings of this room to another person and to spread the love. We're ready for our faith community blessing. Thank you.
Friends, can you feel the love in this room? We're just going to channel that love into this time of blessing together. And as we begin this, I just want to name really what we already know, that today is really about people, right? As much as today is about ground being broken and a building being built, like we know that all of the beautiful collaborative work that has happened between the city of Kirkland and the county and the state and the Sophia Way and Catholic Community Services and so many local churches, it's all for the sake of people, right? So even as we're here because of a building, our blessing that we'll speak now, we're going to speak it to the people who will be blessed by that building. All of the people who will come to the shelter. Staff and volunteers, women and families experiencing homelessness, all of them. So we have 6 kind of words and some words about each of those words that we'll work through, these words of blessing. And we'll light a candle of each of them, kind of a sign of that blessing that we pray for. And then after we do those 6, we'll open up the space just for a few moments. If you want to speak another word or a phrase that you have as your own hope for the folks who will come to this shelter, we invite you to do that too. So there'll be a time to do that as well. So we invite you in the spirit of blessing. I invite you to stand where you are. Apologies to the cameras if that gets blocked, okay. And I invite you to close your eyes and feel your feet on this floor and roll your shoulder back and take a deep breath. Let yourself be in this space as we pray. And as we do this, I invite you to actively call to mind actual people, envision them. We don't know what they'll look like, but envision these actual folks who will fill this space. Envision yourself too, all of us, for we are all a part of it as well. And in love and in hope, we hold the people of the shelter, speaking this blessing to them.
Loving God, we open ourselves now to embody Jesus' compassion in our words of hope and blessing for all the future staff, volunteers, families, and women who will be part of this new shelter. We hold them in our hearts as we hold them in prayer, speaking blessing to them all and now.
Dear ones, may you know safety here. When you cross the threshold of this shelter, may the weight of the world fall from your shoulders. We bless you with safety.
May you know love and welcome here. May you feel the enfolding of understanding and acceptance, where you can be as you are without the need of any mask or pretense of image. We bless you with love and welcome.
May you know transformation here, where you feel the freedom and support to grow and be formed, that you would discover the possibilities of who you can become in your unfolding future. We bless you with transformation.
May you know courage here. The courage for healing in your broken places. The courage to hope. The courage to embrace your dignity. The courage to share forgiveness, including forgiving yourself. We bless you with courage.
May you deeply know abundance here. In a time when you may be bitterly aware of scarcity, may you taste and experience all that you need. And may the generous spirit of this city and county and state never cease to be shared too. We bless you with abundance.
And finally, may you know joy in play here, that a childlike spirit would infuse you, to be open to the surprising blessings each day can bring, even and especially here. We bless you with joy and play.
We take a moment now to open up space for words of blessing. What word or phrase of blessing do you want to speak to the staff, volunteers, the women and families who will come to the shelter? Please pray them now, out loud or silently in your heart. We hold and speak these blessings now. Hope. Strength. Community. Healing. Forgiveness. Perseverance. Acceptance. Laughter. New awakening. Dignity. Empathy. Confidence. Thanksgiving. Love. Family. Support. Strength. Peace. Kindness. Sorry? Welcome.
We carry these blessings with us now, literally, in bringing the candlelight out to the groundbreaking, as well as carrying the spirit of blessing with us as we walk. There we will close this blessing and have our official moment of groundbreaking.
In the spirit of blessing on your way out, there is also a blessing bag to take with you today to keep in your car or hand on to offer someone experiencing a hard time, experiencing homelessness, when you next encounter them. So now, if you need to grab your umbrellas and rain jackets and move together outside.
Now over the everyday life and work that will hum in this new shelter.
In the washing of dirty laundry.
In gathering around the table for food. In the job searching and home searching of case management.
In the play times and in the nap times.
In the computer work and homework. In the showering and sleeping.
We name all of these blessings, blessings of safety and love and welcome, transformation, courage, abundance, joy and play, and all of the other words that were shared. We bless it all over all of these things.
Blessings for all, the staff and volunteers, the families and women, the people of this shelter. And finally, with gratitude and joy, we break ground and commission the shelter as a place that recognizes Christ's call to serve the poor by meeting the urgent need for a year-round 24 shelter for families and for women who are experiencing homelessness on the east side.
May love be greater than hate.
May hope be greater than despair. And may peace be greater than fear for all who enter here.
In Jesus' name, everybody said,
Amen.
And indeed. You gotta look at her. Right there.
Good job. Keep going.
So you're going to count, Madam Mayor.
All right, everybody.
All right.
1, 2, 1. Awesome.
City of Kirkland employee.
Leslie Miller.
There she is. All right. Here we go. City of Kirkland. 1, 2, 3. All right, look this way. Everyone look this way. I know, you got this. All right, you guys ready? Do you want to come? We got one.
Nice smile.
All right, let's look right here first for a photo. 1, 2, 3, good job. Nice job. All right, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Salt House. Any and all Salt House? Okay. All right, you guys ready for a photo? 1, 2, 3. Nice job. All right. Go ahead. Awesome. Good job. All right, do we have everybody? All right, you guys right here for a photo. 1, 2, 3. Nice job. All right, you guys are ready to go ahead.
Okay. 1, 2.